Hi everybody, it's Nikki here, and say it with me, it's Bookgammon time! Yes, it is that time of the month where I play my TBR game Bookgammon, which is based on the board game Backgammon to help me pick my upcoming month's TBR. Today we will be playing for Spooky October, so let me put her down because you know she gets noisy. Okay, so starting off with some housekeeping first. First we have our priority picks. These are the books that are on the current month's TBR, which I do not think I'm going to get to before the end of the month. And considering I am filming this on the 30th of September, I am not going to get to these books. I'm also not going to use them as priority picks, and you'll understand why when we get to gameplay. So the first book I did not get to, unfortunately, was The Hound of the Baskervilles and the Valley of Fear by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. If anything, this should be a priority pick for October because it is, you know, Hound of the Baskervilles, spooky, spooky. But it's not going to be a priority pick. The second one I did not get to you was Jojo Moyes After You. Just didn't get around to it. To be honest, I feel like for me the story is already wrapped up with Me Before You. I read that so long ago. I'm talking over 10 years ago. I have watched the film since, so the story's still fresh in my mind, but I don't know, I just don't feel like the story needs a wrap up, so I don't know if I'm going to actually unhaul this. We shall see. And then, sadly, the only one I'm really disappointed I didn't get to was The Little Mermaid, the full film script, with concept art, director's commentary and song lyrics. I did watch the live action remake that came available on Disney Plus in September. I watched it a couple of times actually, but I didn't actually get around to reading this, which I wanted to do while watching the animated Little Mermaid version. But I didn't get around to it, but it's fine. It'll stay on my shelves for another day. So those were technically my priority picks, but I'm not going to use them as priority picks because it is spooky season. So I did a thing. I'm doing, instead of Bookgammon, I'm doing Spookgammon. So we're doing a spooky version of Bookgammon this month, and I'm so excited for it because as I was prepping like some prompt cards and things for it, my husband saw what I was doing and he asked me what I was doing. So I explained to him, and he said, well, then why don't you, instead of doing a star book and a bomb book, why don't you do a skull and crossbones token and a pumpkin token? Look at that! Now, the reason why the skull and crossbones is a sticker but the pumpkin is drawn by yours truly is because I tried to draw a skull and crossbones. No. So I luckily had a sticker, so I was able to use that, but I did not have a sticker for a pumpkin, so I just drew one. So yeah, we have a skull and crossbones and a pumpkin token this month. So it's not so much as replacing the star and the bomb book, because to be fair, I'd like to read both of these books if either of them come up. So let's have a look and see what they are. So let's start off with the pumpkin book, and I tried to find a book with a pumpkin on it. I really did, and apart from one book, which I was going to be reading anyway, and I'll probably speak about that later, but I couldn't find a book with a pumpkin on it, so I went with a very orange book. This is Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas. I think it's book 4 or book 5 in the Court of Thorns and Roses series, and I have had this for so long and just haven't got around to it because I thought I'm going to need to reread a Court of Thorns and Roses series before I get to this book. But I'm beginning to think that maybe I don't, because this does sort of follow different characters in that storyline. So I feel like I could just read like a recap of those books and then go straight into this rather than having to reread the books themselves. So I'm going to do it. I mean, she's a chonker, but if I land on the pumpkin token, then I'm going to be reading A Court of Silver Flames. I have just finished the, what's her other series? Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. Absolutely loved it. I'm not ready to let her writing go, so I really want to get to this one. So let's hope, fingers crossed, we land on the pumpkin token. But if we don't, and if by chance I do land on the Skull and Crossbones token, then I thought, what better book to fulfill that than this one. I recently received this as a pre-order from Waterstones. This is a Waterstones exclusive edition, and it's this Scarlet Veil by Shelby Mahurin, and I believe it's a continuation of the Serpent and Dove series because it follows some characters from that trilogy. And look at that cover. Can you see the skulls and the roses? And then not only that, but look at that edge. Look at that edge. Isn't that gorgeous? And then on the inside, you got some more lace. And then the piece de resistance, my husband really likes this, is the hardback cover. Look at that. So excited. So, yeah, I can pick this. I would be happy to read this if I land on that Skull and Crossbones token. This just looks amazing. The thing is, love never dies, and it says, "You're doing it again," he says at last. I look away quickly. Doing what? Romanticizing nightmares. So excited. I did enjoy the Serpent and Dove trilogy. I wouldn't say it's my favourite trilogy, but I believe this follows some side characters that were in that, and they're now main characters in this one. So it doesn't matter whether I land on the pumpkin token or the Skull and Crossbones tokens, because technically these are both star books for me this month, because I would like to read either of these. So yes, so that is all of the housekeeping done. So let's go to gameplay. And see what Spookgammon has in store for me this month. Okay, so we have our new for 1 month only Halloween board. We have some Halloween stickers here and here. We have some trick prompt cards here. No, sorry, those are the treat prompts, and these are the trick prompts. So the trick ones are harder than the treat prompts, and every black triangle you can see is a trick triangle, and then the blank triangles are the treat triangles. So we will give them a bit of a shuffle and then put them to the side. Bit hard to shuffle because there's only a few of them, but we will try and do our best. So those are the trick ones, and then the treat ones here. So that's the treat ones here. Then, as you can see, instead of the bomb book and the star book token, we have a Skull and Crossbones and a pumpkin token. So let's place the Skull and Crossbones token first. Placement number 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's on a treat triangle. And then for the pumpkin, number 10. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Also on a treat space. Okay, so our first roll is a double 2. Well, we're not even on the board yet, so I am just going to take them as they are. So 1, 2, and 1, 2, so they're both on a treat space, so just the one prompt. Okay, so our first prompt is a treat prompt, and it is start a book with a snack and a hot drink. Nice. Okay, so a 4 and a 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need to pick one trick card, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and one treat card. So our trick card is one provided by my husband. Read a book over 500 pages. 100 pages for every letter in the word trick. Thanks for that, Scott. And our treat prompt is read a vampire or werewolf smutty book. Nice. Our third roll, a 1 and a 2. Well, if we move this 1, 2, 1, 2, we get to land on the pumpkin. Yes. So we read the pumpkin book for this month. And because of that, we have to move the skull and crossbones. And then we move this one 1. So because they're both on a treat space, we just have the one prompt for that. And the prompt for that is read a recent purchase. Oh, I just remembered that one landed on the pumpkin space. So that one is to read the pumpkin book. So that the treat prompt was just for that one. Right, roll number 4. 2 and a 6. Okay. Let's move this one 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that lands on a treat space. And this one 2. 1, 2. Ah, we landed on a trick anyway. So let's do the trick first. Read a book with a snake on the cover. Another one provided by my husband. And the treat card is veto a trick card. So this means that I can veto, take out one of the trick cards. Roll number 5. A 5 and a 1. Okay, let's move this one 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this one 1. So they're both on a treat space. So let's just pick one treat prompt. So the prompt is sit back, relax, and read a book that's comforting. I have exactly the book in mind. Roll number 6. 5 and 1 again. Okay. I'm going to move this one 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a treat space. And this one 1. So we've got another trick card and another treat card. So let's pick our trick first. Read a previous bomb book that didn't get picked. This is one of my suggestions. Kind of regretting that now. And the treat prompt is read a book with a spooky cover. So something that I find really creepy, spooky, kind of Halloween-y kind of cover. Roll number 7. 5 and 1 again. Oh my goodness. Okay, so if we move this one 1 and this one 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then again we just have a treat because they're both on a treat. So the treat prompt is read a book you could tell around a campfire. So something that you would tell as a campfire story. And our final roll, hopefully, roll number 8, can we get them home? 2 and a 6. So, if we move this one 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, and home, and this one 2, 1, 2. So that is it, over for another month. How did you like the spooky board? Did you like it? Would you like to see it come back maybe next year? Let me know in the comment section below the video. But that is it. That is gameplay for October. Okay, so that was gameplay. We got the pumpkin token. Awesome. So, did you like those prompts? Did you like the trick and the treat cards? I was pretty excited about my game board this month, I'm not going to lie. So let's get on straight into those prompts. So our first roll landed us with a treat card, and the prompt for that was start a book with a snack and a hot drink. So of course, this doesn't specifically ask me for any particular book, but there is one book that I received recently from my good friend Charlotte. She was unhauling some books, and one of the series that she was unhauling was one that I have been wanting to try to read for a very long time, since I got back into reading. I think there was a movie made from this book, but it never got picked up for a sequel or anything. But it's Fallen by Lauren Kate. This is an oldie, but it's one I have been so interested in reading. I know it's going to be that old YA kind of thing, but I'm so excited for this. So this says, some angels are destined to fall. Instant, intense, weirdly familiar. The moment Luce looks at Daniel, she knows she has never felt like this before, except she can't shake the feeling that she has. And with him, a boy she doesn't remember ever setting eyes on. Will her attempt to find out why enlighten her or destroy her? A dangerously exciting and darkly romantic, Fallen is a thrilling story about forbidden love. Yes, I'm sure I saw this as a movie and I was so intrigued by it. I had a look for the book, and when I noticed that it was a series, it was one that was definitely on my to be read list. For roll number 2, our first prompt was a trick, and the trick prompt was read a book over 500 pages, 100 pages for every letter in the word trick. I do have left over from my September TBR Shadow Play by Tad Williams. I am only so far through it, so not as far as I was hoping to get through this in September. So it is definitely over 500 pages. It's 641. So I'm just going to continue to read this and use this for this prompt. Our second prompt for roll 2 was a treat, and that one is read a vampire or werewolf smutty book. Now, I don't know if this is smutty at all, but there's definitely a romance in it, and this is another book that was sent to me by the lovely Charlotte, so thank you very much. This is Unleashed, The Wolf Springs Chronicles by Nancy Holder and Debbie Vigui. So those names down there. And this is the cover. Look at that cover. Ooh. So it says, who do you run with? It's always tough being the new kid in town, and even worse when you have to live with your grandfather in the middle of the forest. But when Caitlin starts at Wolf Springs High, she realises her new life might not be so bad. There's the enigmatic Trick, who is always there to protect her, and Cordelia Fenner and her irresistible brother seem extra friendly. Caitlin suspects that there is more to the Fenner family than meets the eye, but why is she so drawn to them? And in a town full of secrets, who can she trust? So it's from the same publishers as who published Fallen. So a dark, exciting tale that will have you believing in werewolves. So we have werewolves in this one. In Fallen we have, I'm not going to say because spoiler, but yeah, very, very excited. Some spooky sort of romance, werewolves. Yes, it's not smutty, but werewolves, romance, I'm assuming. So yes, that's that one. For roll number 3, our first prompt, we landed on the pumpkin token. So I will be reading A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas. So excited. So yes, we are following Nesta and Cassian, I believe. In this one, Cassian was one of my favourite characters in A Court of Thorns and Roses. So I'm really glad that we're getting a book focused solely on these two characters. Very, very excited to get back into the world of Sarah J Maas and her love her characters and her world building and her just Sarah J. Maasness. That's a word, yeah. Okay, and our second prompt for role number 3 was a treat, and that is read a recent purchase. Now, I recently purchased for myself, because I read these originally through the library, but I bought Vampire Academy box set. So excited. These are written by Rochelle Mead, and I have mentioned her before twice already in this video, but Charlotte and I are starting this as our buddy read. So we have finished the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas, and so we are starting on Vampire Academy in October. I am so excited for this. I loved this series the first time I read it. As I say, I got all the books throughout the library, and now I own my own copies, and I'm so excited for this. So we have Lyssa Dragomir is a mortal vampire. She must be protected at all times from the fiercest and most dangerous vampires of all, the ones who will never die. Rose Hathaway is Lyssa's best friend and her bodyguard. Now, after 2 years of illicit freedom, they've been dragged back inside the iron gates of St. Vladimir's Academy. The girls must survive a world of forbidden romances, a ruthless social scene, and terrifying nighttime rituals. But above all, they must never let their guard down, lest the immortal vampires take Lyssa forever. So yes, I love this series. Not mainly because Lyssa was what I used to call my beautiful daughter Melissa when she was younger, so it has a sentimental and emotional attachment to me. Another reason why I wanted to own these books. So yeah. So for role number 4, our first prompt was a trick. Read a book with a snake on the cover. This is another prompt given to me by my husband, and it was quite difficult to fulfill, hence the reason why it was a trick prompt. And I managed to find this one. We have a snake right up at the top there, and it's curling all the way through these leaves and everything. This is a Fairy Loot special edition of Beasts of Prey by Ayana Gray. And it says, Lucossa was once a city of magic. Now magic is nothing more than a myth. Coffee is a beast keeper at Lucossa's infamous night zoo, caring for fearsome creatures to pay off her family's debts, until she mistakenly unleashes a wild and mysterious power that sends the night zoo up in flames. Econ is destined to become an elite warrior like his father and brother before him, until the fire at the night zoo throws his destiny into disaster and he is cast out forever. Thrown together, Coffee and Econ have only one choice. They must enter the terrifying Greater Jungle and capture the Shitani, the legendary monster that has plagued Lucossa for a century. Magic has returned to Lucossa and the hunt has begun. So yes, very excited for this one. I've had it for years, just never really picked it up, so possibly in October. Our second prompt for role number 4 was a treat card, and it was Veto a Trick card. Now, I've managed to fulfill every trick prompt that I pulled, but what I am going to say is, if I cannot finish Shadowplay in October, because it is a big book, and I do have Court of Silver Flames in there as well, which is also a rather big book. If I cannot finish Shadowplay in October, then that's the one I'm going to veto. For role number 5, we just got the one prompt, and it was a treat prompt, and that was sit back, relax, and read a book that's comforting. Now, remember when I said that I only had one book that really had pumpkin on the title? Well, that's this one. And I knew that come what may, I was going to be reading this on October the 31st, because I have done for the last 3 years, and I have no intention of breaking that tradition. So whether I was able to fit this in to Bookgammon's TBR or not, it was still going to be on my Bookgammon on my TBR for the month, because I always read this on the 31st of October. It has become a tradition for me. So Pumpkinheads by Faith Erin Hicks and Rainbow Rowell. I believe Faith Erin Hicks is the artist and Rainbow Rowell is like the author. And it is a story basically about two friends who are every year volunteering at a pumpkin patch, and this year is going to be their last year before they both go off to their individual colleges that they're going to, and things happen, and I love this story. I love I just every year I read it, and every year I find something new in it, and yeah, it just says, what if their last shift was an adventure? And it is, and I love it, and it's great. Great artwork in here as well. I absolutely love the artwork. It's such an easy graphic novel to follow along with, and it's just perfect for Halloween and pumpkin season. So yes, I will be reading Pumpkinheads. For roll number 6, our first prompt was a trick prompt, and that is read a previous bomb book that didn't get picked, sorry. I had to go back all the way to last October 2022, because all of the other bomb books I've kind of finished. So it's this one. I'll just take that off now. So this is Midnight Sun by Jo Nesbø, and yeah, I picked this as my bomb book last October, and I didn't read it, obviously, because it's still on my shelves. So I am going to try and read it this year. John is on the run. He's betrayed Oslo's biggest crime lord, the Fisherman. Fleeing to a mountain town so far north that the sun never sets, John hopes to find sanctuary. Hiding out in the wilderness, all that stands between him and his fate are Leah, a bereaved mother, and her young son, Knut. But the midnight sun is slowly driving John to insanity, and then he discovers that the fisherman's men are getting closer. Our second prompt for roll number 6 was a treat prompt, and that was read a book with a spooky cover. And I have been keeping this one for October for so many years and then never got around to reading it. And it is Cursed. And this is basically an anthology of some short stories by multiple authors. So you've got Neil Gaiman, Charlie Jane Anders, M.R. Carey, Christina Henry. It's edited by Maria Reagan and Paul Kane, and the cover looks like this. And on the back it says, all the better to read you with. So it says, here you'll find unique twists on curses, from fairy tale classics to brand new hexes of the modern world. Expect new monsters and mythologies, as well as twists on well-loved fables. Stories to shock and stories of warning, stories of monsters and stories of magic. So with lots of little short stories in here, and I'm very, very excited about getting to it. And last but not least, roll number 7, we got just the one prompt. It was a treat prompt. Read a book you could tell around a campfire. So I thought this would be great, you know, like, because we don't do it here in the UK, because, like, unless you're on holiday somewhere, but we don't really tell stories around campfires unless we're, you know, on holiday somewhere, as I say. But I do have this book, and again, I've been keeping it for October and I still haven't got to it. It is Hag, and these are Forgotten Folk Tales Retold. Look at that cover. Isn't that gorgeous? It's stunning. So again, this is a anthology of some short stories written by all of these different people. And it says, dark, potent and uncanny, Hag bursts with the untold stories of our isles, captured in voices as varied as they are vivid. It says, from the islands of Scotland to the coast of Cornwall, the mountains of Galway to the depths of the fens, these forgotten folk tales howl, cackle and sing their way into the 21st century, wildly reimagined by some the most exciting women writing in Britain and Ireland today. So yes, all female authors, whereas there were some male authors in the Cursed anthology. These are all female authors rewriting, retelling some forgotten folk tales from the British Isles. I'm so excited for this. It's going to be a case of reading like one a night or something of these short stories, but it is becoming the weather that I can do that with. So yeah, very excited for this one as well. So that is it. That is my TBR. There's quite a lot of books there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 books on my TBR for October. 2 of them over 500 pages. 2 of them an anthology of short stories. Do we think I can do this? Do we think I can do this? I don't know, cheer me on. I'm gonna need it. But that is Bookgammon or Spookgammon over for the month. Are there any books on this TBR that have interested you into picking them up, especially this spooky season? What is on your spooky TBR this month? Are you taking part in Spookoplathon from Becca in the Books? If so, let me know. I almost took part, almost, but then I thought, hang on a minute, I have my own TBR game. Why don't I just make my TBR game spooky? So that's what I did. So yeah, did you like this version? It will only be here for 1 month, and then we'll be back to normal in November, and then we do my Christmas edition every year. So yeah, very excited. And that's what I like about my Bookgammon game, is that I can change it up to suit the season or the time or my needs, and that's what keeps it exciting for me. So that is it. That is my TBR for the month. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Don't do that.